effective lesson for all possibilities. Our next speaker is Najat Rochdi. She is the president of the Morocco Internet Society and an advisor on numerous projects of implementing information and technology, including serving as one of only 2 women on a high-level panel of information technology experts made up of 14 men and 2 women, to advise Secretary General Kofi Annan on the use of information technologies for economic and social development.
Thank you. Well, I feel a little bit like an outsider because I'm much more in the IT side than in the gender issue side, but I am definitely gender issue sensitive and activist using IT. So what I'm going to try to do in this presentation is, in one hand, to talk about what we are doing in Morocco, or sometimes what we are trying to do in Morocco, and on the other hand, talk about some universal truths, such as how information technology can help us as an activist and as people who want to move forward in better economic and social development. Well, we cannot deny the context, and this morning some speakers already talked about globalization, but I would like to put the emphasis on knowledge-based economy. A knowledge-based economy which put in the central point the information access and the human capital, of course. On the other hand, this globalization and this K economy, the knowledge economy, give and provoke not only the social divide, but nowadays we are talking about the digital divide as well. So, again, ICTs are just a tool, and it is definitely a tool and instrument to foster development, but it doesn't mean that we can substitute ICT to the need for vision, need for policy, need for implementation strategy, need for monitoring, need for reporting, and need for political will. ICT can help, ICT can foster, but on the other hand, we need also to invest and to have strategies for education, education, education. So, what's about ICTs in Morocco? I'm just going to give you some figures, just to try to have a picture of what is happening in Morocco, and I would say it is really growing very fast, those 3 and 4 last years. First of all, we have about 250,000 internet users, which is not bad, but on the other hand, it's not that good if we have to compare it with 28 million of population. We have 1.6 million of telephone lines, but we have 700,000 GSM. And what you have to know, and I would like to underline that, is that it took us almost 20 years to reach the 160 million telephone lines, but it took us 2 years only to reach the 700,000 GSM because of the technology, because of the flexibility, and because also of the accessibility and the affordability. So this is something that we really need to keep in mind when talking about information technology. Information technology is not a fatality. Information technology has to be thought and implemented the appropriate way. It doesn't mean that we always need the highest technology, but from my point of view and from what I have seen in the field, usually it's like a combination between whatever old tools and instruments and media we used to use and new media and new technology as well. We have 300 private ISPs, and from the beginning in Morocco, the government decided to build private ISPs to provide internet services. But, and this is very interesting, we have 500 cyber cafes, which is really a real social, cultural phenomenon. And it's wonderful because that means that there is a thirst to access to information, and there is really willingness to communicate. There is really willingness to share with other people. So we really need to capitalize and to invest on that potential. And this potential is common to all our societies. No boundaries there, no borders there, no frontiers there, no religion there. There is only one and only one volunteer and only one aim is to communicate, to share our common values, to share our common objectives, and to move toward a better social and economic development. Actually, access to mobile phone is more affordable because the terminal is cheaper than the computer. And nowadays, with the technology, we can access to all added value services through GSM. And if you try to analyze a little bit the profile and the background of people who are using mobile phone, those are not the traditional people who are using PCs. You have people using mobile phones who are in different professions. Those are not in the universities. Those are not those are not the highly educated people. So there is a real potential there, again, because of the technology and the development of the technology. On the other hand, in Morocco, for the first time in our history, since 2 years ago, with this new government, we had finally a national action plan for IT development. But it's not IT for IT, it's IT for economic and social development in all the areas. And this is something that you are going to see. First of all, is the e-government. E-government doesn't mean that we have e-ministers, of course. But somehow, there is a lot to do there to change the mentalities and the attitude, because I really think that bringing the technology is very easy. It's really easy. It's available. But bringing people and changing their mentality and moving from the elephant that we used to have to people who are willing to use technology in transparency, in the mind of sharing information, in a mind of sharing responsibilities, and in a mind of sharing power. That's the most difficult, and that's the challenge within the use of information technology among politicians and among decision makers. I have seen some elephants, moving quite well. It's also e-democracy. There is no development if we don't start a real democratic process. It's impossible, and IT is not the answer. IT alone is not the answer. We are kidding ourselves if we think that putting internet here and there and computers here and there are going to solve the problem of development. No. The problem of development has to be solved through other ways. IT can help, but it won't solve. It won't definitely solve. And democracy is one of the oldest principles, but a current principle to really move forward and towards a real economic and sustainable economic development, social development as well. E-business. E-business is very important, especially within the knowledge economy and the globalization. The market concept is completely different nowadays. We cannot have the same commercial transaction than before. We cannot have the same international exchange than before. We cannot have the same economy than before. We cannot rely on the way we used to export our products. We cannot rely on the way we used to import our products. We cannot rely on mass production like before. Nowadays, within the knowledge economy, it's the added value that makes the difference, not the mass production that makes the difference. Nowadays, it's the first one who can access to the market. Nowadays, it's the first one who has a good idea to start a new business. Nowadays, it's the one who is bringing the best added value and the greatest added value who can access to the market. Nowadays, it's men and women in a company, in a government, in a state, in a country that can make a difference. It's not anymore because you are very close to Europe, or because you are very close to the United States, or because you are very close to anywhere. It's because you are close to intelligence and to data mining and to knowledge that you can survive. And IT can do a lot in this context. E-services. In developing countries, we are all suffering from poverty of infrastructure, of course. And through e-services, and I mean health, distance learning, we can finally maybe break this vicious circle of, well, okay, IT, but we have problem of affordability. Yes, we have. We have problem of access. Yes, we have. We have problem of literacy. Yes, we have. And go to a positive circle when we accumulate and we capitalize on whatever we can do
the tools that can help us doing it and more efficiently and maybe more sustainably than we did before. And of course, the whole idea is to have an e-Morocco, like e-Europe and e-everything. But the e alone is not the answer, of course. You need to have, again, vision, strategy, implementation, and resources. And it's not only blah, 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 blah. When you say and when you decide we are going to do such things, put the money on the table. Then I will trust you. So, education, education, education. And this is really, really, really crucial. Educate those women, and you will see what they can do. Let them know about their rights, and you will see how they will shout and go outside in the street and say, we want it because we deserve it. So education, education, education. Awareness. A lot of those women are not doing anything because they don't know. They just don't know that they can do it. They just don't know. And it's our duty as maybe those elites who could afford to do a lot of things to have a kind of solidarity with them. And IT is a wonderful tool to bring solidarity within a network as well. And lobbying. I think it's a key word. Lobbying everywhere. It's lobbying at the national level, lobbying at the regional level, and lobbying at the international level. And what's better than networking and internet and intranet and whatever technology is available to really do lobbying without boundaries, without frontiers, without jet lag, and partnership. Nobody can do anything alone. UN cannot do anything alone without the civil society. Member states cannot do anything alone without the international organization. Civil society cannot do it alone without the political will and political commitment. So maybe let's talk about the boundaries even within organizations and not only in the cyberspace. So that means that we need urgent reform, and urgent reform not only in the legal framework and rights and things, but also in terms of the spread and the development of information technology in our countries, and why ICTs are really making a difference. First of all, it can bring every citizen, home, school, business, and administration into the digital age and online. And to be into the digital age means time is over. Well, I'm going to talk very quickly. The whole idea is that with information technology, with networking, it's a wonderful way to create this critical mass. Because we know that there are people here and there. We know that there are organizations here and there. But if we don't put all those organizations together, the weight is going to be really light. So the only way to make sure that there is a critical mass that we cannot afford at the national level is to go for networking, is to share information together, is to share best practices, but also to voice our aims and our objectives and to say, look, maybe in Morocco we are 5,000, 10,000, 100,000, but look at the network, we're a million and million of people. Do you imagine if there's a strike on the net? 3 million people can do a strike. Do you imagine if all together we say, this is what we want for women. This is what we want for our future. This is the only way for us to shape our future. This is possible through the net. And we can do it in your language, in my language, in any language. Because the development is only one language. Thank you.